Tony is a home inspector. He's got about 20 years of experience working with buyers and sellers.
20, almost 23 years.
23 years. Okay, so that's a testament basically to how much he loves his business and he loves his clients. He gets raving reviews. Always look him up on Google and whatnot. You look me up on Google as well. The purpose of this video is we want to talk to the buyers who are purchasing. And a lot of stuff can be overwhelming, especially when they get the home inspection report. And I just want to clarify some stuff with Tony that he can clarify for the buyers. So I got some of the questions that I had from a previous buyer that I want to make sure that I ask Tony. When the buyer receives a home inspection report, what are the key areas that they should be focusing on first?
So first and foremost, always important to be at your inspection. So I don't want to overlook that. So attend the inspection, pay attention to what the inspector's doing. Try not to get distracted, maybe by your kids running around, or your uncle or your parents that are there. They're welcome to be there if you want them to be there and show them the home. But try to definitely make some time to ask the inspector questions and pay attention to what's going on. If you don't, when you get the report, or if you can't attend, it makes things a little more overwhelming, let's say, when you get an inspection report. There'll be a lot of writing, a lot of photos, at least the way I do it. I try to explain whether I'm on site or within the inspection reports in more layman's terms. So I keep it simple because not everyone is a contractor or knows everything that's going on. So I assume everyone is just like, I'm explaining it to a friend of mine or my wife, and I need to just tell her how they need to maintain or improve or fix or how this thing works. So I try to keep it simple. So when you get that inspection report, read through it. My inspection reports contain a summary. Some inspectors don't include a summary. I find the summary makes it easier to hit bullet points. But the summary might leave out certain things, the photos or other things that could be in the report that are important. So read through it all, dissect it. Whatever you don't understand, you definitely need to reach out to your home inspector, potentially your realtor like Evans or your attorney, whoever's helping you out. Maybe you have a friend that's a contractor that can help you go through it. That's not such a bad idea. They can kind of decode what we're trying to tell you sometimes and maybe give you a solution in addition to a solution or an idea we might have given you to fix it.
One of the things I want to touch on is pretty much you just mentioned when they get the report, there's the summary and then there's the full report. What we like to do when we're working with our buyers is pretty much we go over, once the client gets the report, we go over with them. Whether we're doing it face-to-face or we're doing it on Zoom, I'll have a copy, they'll have a copy. We'll go through the summary. We'll go through the whole list. And if you're on the buying side, we want to focus on the key major things like roof, plumbing, any of those things that are going to cost a lot of money. Those are things that we focus on. If you don't like the paint or you don't like the carpeting, we're not focusing on that because we want to make sure if this is the house that you want, we want to focus on the key things, the big ticket items, not the fact that you don't like the color purple in the bathroom. We're not focusing on that. We're focused on things that basically that might need repair. Obviously, we're going to have a discussion with you. This is what the report came with. Basically, we can have either speak to the seller to see if they can repair it, remedy it, give us a credit basically at closing. There's many ways that we can work this out. But, obviously, if they can say yes and they can say no to pretty much anything that we request. And we just have to make sure that our list is very short. Because remember, even though they accepted your offer, they're still showing the house to many other buyers. So we don't want to take too much time basically going back and forth. We want this, we want this, we want this. We want to keep the list as short as possible, but obviously the big ticket items are the things that we focus on. Tony, my other question that I had, I kind of suggested this and you kind of mentioned this also. How should a buyer handle repair suggestions in a report?
So there's always going to be, our job is to find issues a lot of times, right? So that's how people view a home inspector. I want to find, sometimes you're trying to negotiate. I want you to find as much stuff as you can. I'm going to find whatever is there and I'm going to report on it the same way, whether you're trying to negotiate or not. Most homes in New York State are basing an as-is sale. There are certain things you're entitled to, like the roof not leaking and whatnot. So a home inspector is going to come in and we're going to let you know what the conditions are. Like the roof is this age, the boiler is this age, this is working, that's not working, whatever the case is. We'll give you a report. And then you'll sit down, typically with your realtor, and see what you can do. Can you negotiate certain things? In this market that we're in right now, unfortunately, can be a little bit tricky to negotiate. But you can negotiate certain things if they're legitimate, if they're big items. So Evans, you touched on this. It used to be back in the day, we would say any repair greater than, let's say, $500 would be considered major. Now that scale probably slid up a little bit because $500 doesn't buy as much anymore. So maybe it's $750 or $800 or $1,000, whatever the number, and that could be any number that you might not be comfortable with or comfortable, it might slide up or down depending on what your comfort level is. But by major, what do we mean? Is there a problem with the boiler? Is it rusted out? Is the water heater leaking? Right? Is the roof at the end of its life? Because that might be an issue even potentially for appraisal or getting insurance on the home. So those things, another one, some homes, I did a presentation the other day, fuses, like a fuse electrical system, the old screw fuses,
Yes.
They still do exist. There's not that many out there, but that might be a condition of your mortgage or definitely your insurance company to replace that. So you might be able to use that as a buyer to your advantage to get that corrected before closing. So you can negotiate things. It's going to depend, number one, how is the home priced? How was it presented and marketed for sale? What was your offer contingent upon? Or did you know that there's issues and now you want to negotiate the same issues? That's probably not going to work. It has to be things that came up during the inspection that are typically major issues.
Here's a tip. In today's market, there's more than one buyer interested in one home. So you have to think along the lines of, am I willing to lose this house because of one small issue? Or it might be a small issue to the seller. It might be a major issue to you. So you have to leverage to see, all right, is this a big issue or is this a small issue? There's like other buyers that are interested in this property and they're willing to take it as is. So you have to make the decision. Nobody's going to force you to purchase the property, but you have to make a decision for you and your family. Are you comfortable enough to purchase this house with the issue that we mentioned before? And if giving a remedy, basically how you can fix it, if there's a credit given to you, or you can pretty much, we might be able to negotiate basically maybe a price a little lower basically based on what the issue is. It really depends. Obviously, there has to be a compromise between the seller and the buyer and to make the deal work if it's going to work. The other thing I would suggest is basically don't sweat the small stuff, focus on the big ticket items, which we mentioned before. Tony, other question. If the report mentions something that's unfamiliar to a buyer, which majority of it is going to be unfamiliar to a buyer, how can buyers get clarity? Obviously, we suggest this already. Speak to your home inspector. Speak to your realtor. They have years in the business that they can explain stuff that might not make sense to you. But let me let Tony answer the question.
Yeah, thank you, Evans. That's a great question. I said earlier, I've been in this business for 23 years. I love what I do. I love my job. And part of the reason why I love my job is because I'm able to help people, right? And part of that is not only just finding issues and ripping apart a house, it's also making recommendations for repairs, improvements, and all that. And going along with that is explaining things to people. So when you have that report and you don't understand something, you're not really sure, maybe you were paying attention during the inspection, but you just don't have that depth of knowledge, which is perfectly okay. There's no stupid questions, nothing like out of bounds with this. I enjoy being able to talk somebody through that process of understanding what the component is, what the issue is, how they're going to fix it. Even if I don't have the exact method of repair, I can guide them towards somebody possibly, or say, hey, let's call Evans. Let's discuss it with him and see. Maybe we can go back to the seller and correct it, right? But you need to understand what the issue is. And I get joy out of explaining that to people, and they walk away, oh, now I understand, now I know. And you may, as a buyer, say, okay, now that I understand it, I'm not really scared of it. I understand what it is. You know what? I don't even want to negotiate at this point. I'm going to change the bathroom. So I don't care that this thing is leaking or this is worn out or whatever the case is. Or, you know what? The heating system is bad, but I'm going to replace it anyway next year. So I'll just get it maintained and fixed for now. But if I didn't have that understanding, the sky is falling and the house is going to explode and I need to fix it right now and I need money. So that's where clarification, explaining things, always don't be scared to contact your home inspector. And that's why it's important when you're selecting a home inspector, find someone not only experienced, not only someone that has insurance and is licensed and has all those great things and gives a good report, but that can communicate with you in a way that you understand. Because everyone speaks differently and explains differently. find that person you click with and and understands you and what you need out of the inspection and can explain it to you in a way that you can go back to your realtor, your attorney, and get what you need.
Tony, I couldn't say any better. You pretty much hit the nail on the head as usual. All right, now for the buyers, sellers, whoever's watching this, they got some clarity out of this, and they're about to purchase a home. One of the things I like to tell my clients before we start looking at homes, because we're going to do a 10 to 15, maybe 20, 30 minute, depends on where you are in your journey when you're about to purchase a home, we do a consultation. When we do the consultation, we go over the whole process, what to expect when you're buying a home. We will walk through everything from start to finish. And then what I do is I give you, the buyer, homework. 2 things that you have to do. Before we meet, you should have to have your pre-approval. Once you get your pre-approval, we're sitting down, we're talking, we're discussing everything, we go through the whole plan. After that, your homework when you're working with me, when you hire me as your buyer's agent, is pretty much, I give you 2 pieces of advice. I give you, here's my list of my home inspectors, here's my list of my attorneys. Please call every single one of them. Ask them whatever questions you have. A typical buyer is going to have, how much does this cost? What walk me through the process. On your side, on your portion, what do you do? Do you, for the home inspector, do you climb roofs? Do you do termites? Do you check for termites? Pretty much all those questions. You ask everybody those questions. For the attorneys, you'll have questions for the attorneys as well. You ask, and then basically whoever you feel the most comfortable with, obviously if it's Tony, hopefully it's Tony, that's the person that you hire. And then you call me up or text me, hey, I went through the list, and I want to work with Tony as my home inspector, and I want to use attorney blah, blah, blah as my real estate attorney. And I have to stress the real estate attorney. Do not get a regular attorney that does everything. You want a real estate attorney, because the real estate attorney is going to know how to read the real estate contract. And when something comes up on the home inspection, it's not bloody murder. It's basically, they understand, they've seen this all day long, and they're like, okay, we need to do this, this, and this. So make sure you hire the right professionals. That's the point I'm trying to make. Tony, give them your contact information one more time, please.
Sure. So again, my name is Tony Chistoforou. My company is Touchstone Home Inspection. Feel free to search us out on Google. I have a lot of reviews on there, so you can see what other people think. A lot of great customers that I've had all these years. And you could call us at 718-278-7867. Or you can search us online. It's touchstoneinspection.com. Thank you guys for coming tonight.
Awesome. And my information is Evantz Saint-Gerard. You can find me on all social media. You can find me at Evantz Sells Homes, pretty much on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. My cell phone is the easiest way to get me, which is 917-975-5985. I'll say that one more time. Feel free to reach out to us. You have questions, you want to book an appointment to sit down and have a consultation. We have many ways we can do this. We can do face-to-face, meet at my office. We can do a Zoom, which a lot of people prefer that. And one of the things I do differently from a lot of people is I'll record the Zoom with your permission. That way, we might have having a dialogue conversation. Maybe your spouse has to leave for a second, take care of the kids, or they're cooking, or whatever the case may be, or life is happening at the moment. And you're not going to retain everything. So with the recording, I copy, save, and send it to you. So that way you can rewatch our consultation, because you're not going to remember everything, let's be honest. But you'll have that video so you can watch, like, oh yeah, he did say this, he did say that. Okay, I got it. If you want to book an appointment, give me a call, 917-975-5985. And you have questions about home inspections, give Tony a call. 23 years of experience. It's right there at your fingertips. Give him a call, ask him questions, and when you're ready to buy, hire him as your home inspector. I'm Evantz Saint-Gerard. He's Tony Chistoforou. Did I say correctly this time?
You got it. Perfect.
All right, cool. Well, I got it. Hopefully you'll get it also. So give us a call. Bye.